everyone. Welcome back to another episode on the Game Junction Podcast. So, this week we have a very special, week here. So, we have an amazing guest tonight. So, we can't wait to tell you guys a little bit more about our special guest. So, first of all, we'll just check in real quick with Brandon. How's everything going?
Going good. Been a busy week over here at Game Junction, but a lot of fun and excited for the podcast tonight.
Exactly. So we'll just go ahead and just jump right into it. We have a special guest tonight, and he does some amazing things in this gaming community. So we are here. If anyone has any questions for our guest as well, make sure you guys leave some comments, and we'll get to those throughout the entire podcast. But we'll just go ahead and introduce our guest. So, how are you doing tonight? If you just want to let everyone know what it is that you do and who you are, and we'll just go from there.
Sure. I'm doing great, and thanks for having me, first of all. My name is Justin. I'm chief editor of timelessgamer.net, and I, I call it, I'd say new, because we've now been at it for about 7, 8 months. We started in August, so I know I've been longer than that then. So coming up, about 9 months or so.
Awesome.
And we just, first and foremost, written blog. I provide a lot of the content, but also have multiple contributors who help out. So it is definitely a group effort, and try to cover all eras of gaming, stuff that we find interesting, and sort of off the beaten path as far as what other sites are covering. I would say sometimes, other times we'll hop on and just talk about the other stuff. Like
A little bit of everything. Doing a
a
little
little
bit of
bit of
everything.
everything.
I
That's
love
yeah.
that. That's awesome.
Yes, and we've been following along. At least I know I have been for, I guess, probably pretty close to the very beginning.
It
So
had
it's
to have
really
been,
cool
yeah.
to, yeah, I think so. So I would think that this entire time there's been a number of all of these different articles that I've seen, and just the variety of it. I really like that. I think that that's what makes it really great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love the variety too. I mean, like you put out, the guy that did like the Nirvana songs and stuff like that,
Yes,
because me and
that
you
was
connect. That's amazing. I mean, that still
yeah, yeah.
amazes me. And
I appreciate you. First of all, I think that was one that you had posted on Game Junction, and in the comments, I'm like, well, I'm blogging about that.
yeah, yeah,
That was super cool. And then you kind of tapped me on the shoulder when I think it was the same person did the In Utero
yes,
uh,
yeah,
version as well. Also super cool. In fact, I think that one might be more listenable as far as like from front to back. I
yeah.
think they kind of did a better job, maybe because they had
A little bit
got
more
the content
time and
together. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I
So
agree. I like to listen. That's also my favorite album. So that was
we're
cool to.
already nerding out on music, and it's like
I
2 a.m.
love it. Hey, we don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all probably have like the same taste in music styles, so I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
And I also like a variety as well. I think we all
Oh,
do as well, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
big variety of music. So, did
yeah.
you always want to create a website? Like, is that something you've always thought about doing, or?
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be gaming all the time. I've been into web design. I was into it in my teen years. So back, I was like literally hacking HTML code and stuff like that. Not very well. It's not like I was a professional, but I knew a little bit about it. And then didn't really do much with it here and there with creative projects. I'll throw together a website for it. But it was really with this one that I think I tried to get back into it and um, make it look at least slightly professional. Like it looks like you're on a site that
You
serves
want
the
to come
purpose
back
that I'm
to?
trying to.
Yeah,
Sure, yeah, it doesn't just look like
Yes.
somebody threw it together in their mom's basement or something. At least I hope it doesn't. But yeah, so I've always been into it. The gaming topic. Just a quick background for me. I gamed as a kid, but sort of just like the stuff that like everybody played. I wasn't like super into it. And then
Hmm.
just about the PS1 era, completely lost interest to music. I think I was playing a lot of
I
music.
I did that as well.
Remember like kind of checking out, like I played a lot of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, little Tomb
Yes.
Raider 2, Resident Evil 2, and that was sort of the era where I liked those, but then just I didn't never own the
Yeah,
PS2, never owned the PS3, and it was the PS4 era that I really started kicking back, and like things it took like this it took over my consciousness all of a sudden. Once I realized how many games I missed out on, it snowballed. And
yeah,
so I
Yes.
think that having those years off actually gave me a unique perspective
Yes.
Mhm.
because I was able to go back and play games that were like in the PS2, PS3 era that other people probably saw as sort of long in the tooth and dated, and I was instead was like, man, like this is cool. I've never played anything like this, and so like having those years off, I'm kind of able to go back with a little bit more of an open mind than I think than some people are. So
Yeah.
that having that mindset, and for some reason having this, it's no longer newfound, but a few years back with this newfound obsession with like anything and everything video game, and I don't really know where it came from, other than I can go into like the little milestones, but we'd be here for way too long. So yeah, just at some point like it became a full blown obsession, and like almost any system I can get my hands on, almost any information I can put in my brain. And I think that's sort of where the website's like, what am I doing with this information that I'm like learning? This is useless to most people, but kind of feeding it out, having like a digest almost to be like, this is cool. What do y'all think? And then sort of helps, I think, like a journal kind of
Yeah.
sorts.
Yeah, I know that even with me and Gamer Aimer, so for me, like 2008 to 2012, basically my high school years, maybe some of 2007, I completely checked out for music and girls. I mean, that
Yeah.
just, that 100% it was all music all the time. That was it. And so when I went back, I too had that like obsessive dive. And maybe 4 or 5 years isn't that long, but it kind of is in gaming years. It really
Oh yeah,
kind of is.
that's like
So
almost a whole generation.
yeah, and the year that I dived back in, which would have been shortly after 2012, by 2014 I was already working for a video game website. Like I dived straight into it, checking
Yeah.
out everything I missed, and I was just all over it once I went back. So I definitely missed having that. Music took over. Music still like probably my biggest passion, but I love video games too just as much. So it was one of those things that you're a teenager, and I just checked out and did other things. I skateboarded too, so
Yeah.
you know
Same.
did all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely understand the obsession part and the like diving in, and I feel like I'm still in that stage, and I don't know when that stage will ever stop.
Yeah. At a point, I feel like I start to long for like a couple years back, where it's like it still sort of felt newish, and I was still like. But then again, you're kind of right in that it does feel still like if I like get really excited about something, it does have that kind of honeymoon phase to everything, where it's like I
Yeah,
still feel like I'm just as excited as I was whenever I first, even as a kid, like maybe more excited, definitely more
I
excited.
definitely had that too, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like when I got the Switch, I had that sort of child sort of excitement for something because I got the Wii U and the 3DS, and I had just those for a few years. I completely missed PS4, completely missed it. I got an Xbox One 2 years before the Series X came out. So like that whole generation for me was Wii U, 3DS, and Vita, and I'm fine with that to this day
Oh,
now. Vita is
yeah.
my favorite system of all time. 3DS is in my top five. Like I don't complain about that at all. I got to check out a lot of cool games that people don't talk about or, play. So, like, I enjoyed it. But it was a little bit weird to pretty much miss an entire PlayStation life cycle. Like, the entire
Mhm.
thing. I just got a PS4, like, 3 weeks ago. My first PS4.
Wow.
So, yeah, I picked one up
There's
on.
some good games to pick
There's.
up on for
Oh,
sure.
yeah, I've dived into it head first. There's a lot of good games for sure.
Hmm.
Mhm.
But yeah, the Xbox One picked up a bunch of stuff for that. Like I said, I only had that 2 years before the Series X came out, and it's cool to dive back in. That's a massive library of games. The PS4 and the Xbox One, gigantic. I mean, one of the
Mhm.
biggest ever. It's so big.
And you're in a good pocket for collecting too, because it's starting to get to where people think it's a little bit older and they don't care about
It's
those
getting
games.
cheaper. Yep.
It is the time to start picking
Yes.
those up.
But what's crazy is PS5 games are cheap. I bought almost every
Some.
PS5 game I have for a deal. I mean, I'm talking, you wait 2 months, not even 2 months, like God of War when it came out, that was one of two games I paid full price for, like at launch. 2 weeks
I don't
Mhm.
later,
think it's dropped either. Or did
two,
it drop?
yeah, oh yeah, 2 weeks later, there were sales for $35 for it with Target
For Ragnarok?
for Ragnarok. Yes, Yeah.
I missed that. Okay.
You gotta check Twitter. There's accounts that tweet out these deals all the time. Wario
Wario
64,
64.
Yeah, they
cheap
go quick too.
cheap. They go quick. Cheap ass gamers
Mhm.
one.
Yeah.
IGN deals. There's several of them, but like you see those deals, that's how I get all of my PS5 games. Like I just got one that came in, Curved Space. I paid $5 for that on Amazon.
I got that for 5 to 7 myself. That was sitting. It was like at a GameStop in a basket. It's a cool twin stick.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun, but there's
Yeah, it's got the weird mechan or the physics to it.
oh, like this. This was the one that got. I don't even have a system for it yet. I'm gonna grab it soon. Evercade cartridge. This was $8. Their MSRP. They're $20. All their cartridges are $20 for these games. They're basically like collections of like on an actual cart collections
Yeah.
of retro games. But I got my first one for $8, and I know I do want to collect for it because they've got a lot of cool games on that system.
Yeah, that looks like a cool deal.
Oh yeah, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. I just got for $10. Like, you can't beat it. Some of these deals is crazy. So, yeah,
Yeah, you got to be quick for all these deals.
yeah.
They are out there though, because people don't believe it, but they are out there. And even
This whole
with, like,
shelf of
free-
these is those deals.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
just a lot of competition now, so like you said, you
Yes.
have to be quick, you have to be patient, and you have to be persistent. Because, like, I'll go garage sailing once every few weeks, and usually I come home empty-handed. If I were
Same.
to go every single week and then really put in the time, I think I'd do a lot better. But instead, I use that time to spend with my family, which is good. But
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, what did I miss?
Yeah.
I had just
Yeah, people don't do yard sales around my area. I'm in a very small town too, so like what I find is limited, and a lot of the stuff that probably these people have had that was video games related, I already got. Like, you know what I mean, years ago.
Yeah.
It's the same people every year, so it's not great around here anymore, and most people don't even do them. But I'm definitely going to try to start going out of town to some flea markets and stuff. Like, I've heard about a few from a couple of friends in like Lancaster. There's some in Columbus that are supposed to be pretty cool, so I'm going to start hitting those up and start hunting them games down.
Anytime I travel, I try to see what's around there.
Mhm.
Definitely the game shops, but more off the beaten path is what I'm trying to look into. Like, are there any thrift stores or pawn shops here?
Yes.
That seems to be where the deals more are at. It's cool to see what retro stores, if I'm near one, I like to pop in and see what it's like. But for deals, I like to see,
Yeah.
Yeah.
hole in the wall thrift shops or whatever they got around the town. That's where it's at.
Absolutely.
Just to see what's different, than your area, because
Yeah.
it's really big and crowded around here, and we have like tons of game stores. But I actually think it's a good thing because there's just so many people, so it actually does well. Like, they're kind of catered towards us, and there's so many people out here looking for games, thrift stores, flea markets, yard sales, game stores, comic book stores, and then they all dabble in games. So it's like literally everywhere you go. But, just because the area is plentiful doesn't mean you still have to, you do actually still have to hunt, and you have to, like, go at certain times. You have to be consistent. You could go like 10 days in a row, find nothing, and that 11th day you find like a $500 worth of stuff for, X amount of money. But you got to put in that work and energy, and like you said, you'd rather, spend time with your family and things, but it's a lot for some people to try and be in this competitive nature now.
Yeah.
And there's a thrill to be had there if you go out and find those deals. But like
Yeah.
you say, if you're not putting in the work, you're not going to find them. I live in the Dallas area, and so we have a lot of people too. A lot of shops, a lot of stores. I mean, it's a huge area, but there's a lot of people, and so therefore, I most of the time will come home with. Like, I'll get stuff and I'll think they're okay deals, but as far as like, those deals where you're like, oh my God, the deals you think about months later, you're like, I cannot believe that I got that stuff. I don't, those happen once every several months, I think.
Yeah.
I still got a Wii U deal that like, it was probably a year ago and I'm just still like, oh my God, I cannot believe this.
Yeah, definitely. You got to work for those deals. There's no doubt about that. So let's talk a little bit more about Timeless Gamer. What inspired you to create the website?
I think going back to what I was saying earlier, just I kept obsessively learning about video games, but why? I mean, I pretty much always have a creative project going, whether it be musical or something. I pretty much always have something going. I record music and whatnot too, but
Yeah.
lately I haven't really had the means to do it. And
Sure.
I do have the means to write, and I think that's sort of where it came from, because it's like, I do have a creative project going with a buddy, but it's very lax terms. Like we record music via 200 miles away, or something like that. So it's all like cloud drive. I got a lot of just creative energy burning, and I'm learning a lot about about video game stuff. And I think it just has to come out somewhere. So the blog ends up being where it is. And the reason I bring in other people too, I have my areas of expertise, and I have areas where I'm not so great. I
Sure.
do want to provide a well-rounded experience. So
Yeah.
like RPGs, I just don't know a whole lot about them. I don't play a whole lot of them. So like it's just one of those areas that I need other people to help out with that.
Yes.
I'm more retro focused too. So I have one writer who works with me a whole lot, Dan Danzy, who he brings a lot of the modern side stuff to it whenever I need that. I do cover some myself because I do play modern, but man, I really like looking back a few generations.
Yeah,
So
sure.
just pretty much all those creative thoughts burn, and they got to come out somewhere. So you guys are stuck with me.
I think that's a perfect way, though.
I think
To
so
get it
too.
all out. It's great. And then if someone, even just one person, if they could like take that knowledge. But what I can tell is you're growing pretty well, and it seems like there's a lot of people interested in this, and we see like the shares and everything else. So I think that's great. So you could see that it is like affecting the community, like in a good way, though. Like we need more of these resources out there. We need more of these like outlets for people, and it's really cool to see like how people think on certain games and events and things like that happen in like the news. It's really cool to see other people's takes on things.
I agree. I like other people when I read other people's similar thoughts, and I appreciate it. I kind of I like to gather it all and spit it all out. So I'm with you on that.
Definitely. I even like to see people's different takes on like, modern news. I like to see what they have to say with said news that came out. They're obviously going to give the direct news, and then oftentimes they'll put an article, kind of their thoughts on it too. And I like to see the thoughts of what others think. So I love seeing that. Yeah, and I mean that's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just jumping in the chat real quick.
Yeah.
So we do have some people are commenting about this too. We have Stephanie saying, "That's awesome. Keep the energy coming with your writing." So that's great to hear. We do have quite a few other people in the chat. I think we kind of passed over a little bit. So it looks like we have a bunch of people talking about, like Kevin saying the PS2 and PS3's dated, like with like a question mark, LOL, like I guess like we're that far advanced. Then we have Retro Tiburon saying Vita for life, baby, and
yes,
then they're
sir.
still talking.
Vita forever.
Yeah, that's what people are saying. Our Vita's still available, so we have
Oh yeah.
I think we have quite a few people in here talking about Vitas. They used to be cheaper from Japan. I don't know about today. And then probably the cheapest way to get a Vita is through OfferUp and apps like that.
Yep.
So we have a lot of people talking about some of the different systems that we had mentioned throughout this whole, retrying to collect everything.
And you heard it here first. We are switching over to Vita Junction.
Just all Vita all the time.
All Vita, all the time, every day.
Does this mean I should get one now? Because I don't have a Vita.
Absolutely. We already talked about this. I got one for you to buy.
I'll hook you up. My stack of games is literally just it is so pricey to buy for the Vita.
I am a dummy and going for a full set. But I don't think that's any worse than Gamer Aimer going for a full set for the Super Nintendo, because that's not a cheap set either.
What are you talking about? I find all the deals. I'm already working my way through, and
I'm working my way too. I'm about 1/10 of the way so far. There's more games than you think for the Vita. Limited Run and some of those other companies put out a ton of physical Vita games.
Aren't there still like is it limited run that's still putting stuff out for it?
No, the last one, I've got it sitting over here. The last one that came out was called Moose Man, and it came out from East Asia Soft, is what they're
How
called.
long ago was that?
That was 6 months ago, maybe. Like,
Okay, so yeah, they are still.
yeah, and then actually, a company just put out the last two PS3 games, believe it or not, which I've
I
got.
feel like I heard that. What
Yeah,
was
they
it?
were Hawaii Shakedown, and what's the other one called?
That
Retro
seemed to be the
City,
last game
Retro
on-
Rampage.
I think Hawaii Shakedown didn't that, or at least I think it was the last Wii U game for a
Last
while.
last Wii and the last Wii and Wii U game, yeah.
Did that get overthrown? I feel like somebody else came in. Maybe I'm
For the
wrong.
Wii U, maybe for the Wii U, but for the Wii, I know for sure it is the last
Okay.
Wii game. But they've done that for a lot of systems. But it was cool to, I mean, it's just cool to see them do that, like a PS3 game in
Yeah.
2023. Like, it blows my mind. I'm like a weird collector in that I want to have the first titles released for a system and the last titles released for a system. Like any system, I love that. Like, that's my, if I'm collecting for a system, the first thing I want to do is get those launch titles and the last ones. Like, I always do it.
Oh,
So
nothing in between. Just the
Well-
first game and the last game. No other games.
yeah, Vita La Vida Junction. That's what we're doing. Vita La Vida.
I like it. I like it.
She's calling me bruh. Rude. So anyway, yeah, let's hop back in a few more things. So, obviously we talked a little bit about what we've seen, but how do you think that everything is going for you right now as far as Timeless Gamer? Is it, going the way that you want it to go? Is there, plans that you've got as far as future plans? Anything coming?
I feel like it's going up, growing as far as the growth rate about as quickly as I expected it to. I'd like it to grow quicker, but I think at this point I need to start throwing down advertising money if I'm going to start doing that. So that's where
Yeah.
we're at with that. What was the second part of that question? I'm sorry.
Just kind of like your future plans, like goals that you have, expanding,
I
anything like that.
Chugging along. I mean, the ultimate goal is to branch out into different mediums. Like a podcast would be cool. A YouTube channel would be cool. I think the writing was the most practical to go ahead and just to hit the ground running because I could do that without having to have a whole lot of, I could do it anywhere. I can do it at my pace,
Yeah.
and it's just, to me, that seemed like the most logical solution. And I have a little bit of a knack for writing, so that helped.
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately, I'd like to make it sort of a multi-channel experience. That is probably further down the road. I do think a podcast might be next, having some recording experience. So that'll probably be in the pipeline soon.
Sure.
As far as the website, things are going. I do think I'm most likely going to start a new feature every Saturday where I feature a different streamer, a different Twitch or just gaming streamer in general. So I think that's probably my soonest plan that I can talk about, and I'm about 90% sure that that's going to happen soon. So that's where
Nice.
we're at.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think it'll be cool to see like the next steps and see like the transformation so that like one day we're looking back like, remember that one time, we were on the podcast and wow, look at it now. Like,
Yeah.
we'll be watching this recording and see like, like the future talk, and then, that'd be pretty cool to see.
If nothing else, it helps me stay accountable. I'm going to just watch this every single week and be like,
Yes.
I haven't done that podcast. I told them I was going to do that podcast.
Yeah, I mean, like the thing, we talked about this a couple of times, but you're doing something very similar that we would like to do for the website. It's been a little bit of a pain as far as trying to get the domain and figuring everything out with the website, because I don't necessarily have up-to-date website experience. But yeah, we want to do something. We want to be able to offer the articles in written form of content as well. Like, that's probably our next biggest step and goal for us.
Whenever you need help getting set up, let me know, and I'll be glad to at least offer what expertise I learned in the past
Definitely.
year doing this stuff. So
That's where my background comes from too, is the writing side of things. That's what I've done for forever, for several websites and stuff. So the video experience has just been learning, learning everything that we're
Then I'll go
doing.
to you once it comes time for that.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
we're always learning too. We're always learning.
yeah, the same goes, both ways too. I know you said that you'd like to do like podcasting and videos and things like that. We're no experts or anything, but we are learning, kind of as we grow. And if you like look at like the very beginning of, Gamer Aimer stuff and then Game Junction stuff, you see at the beginning it's like everyone has to start
Yeah,
somewhere. And like
absolutely.
sometimes I often rewatch that and I'm like, what was I thinking?
But
But then it's
it's a
like,
humbling experience too, right? Because it's like you see how far you've come, and you can Gamer Aimer can attest to this. We learn new stuff every single day. It seems like we're always
yes,
learning something.
multiple things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the time. So it's like it just is a putting in the time, the work, and you learn along the way. And like
Yep.
it's gotten better every day. I feel like, and then that if you need any help with any of that stuff, we're always here to help. We love to help everybody in the community. So
And if we don't know it, we can always ask around because that's what we do ultimately. And
yeah,
look, we got some hype in the chat. We have Stephanie saying there's so many resources that you can definitely reach your goals. You got this. So we got some support in the chat here. So
Much appreciated.
thank you, Stephanie. That was very nice of you. All right, so I think we will go ahead and ask you a few more things. What are your first gaming memories?
First solid gaming memory. I feel like by this point I just had an idea of what video games were, but the one that
mhm.
first memory I can actually remember is I was actually talking about this today with my parents because I woke up on Christmas morning. I had to have been 1988. So I was
Mhm.
5 years old. I'm dating myself, and I woke up to we got an NES for Christmas, and it was super fantastic because I didn't know what that thing was, and so like it just me and my older siblings we were just sitting down, and they didn't know what it was. I found out just this morning like that my brother's friend had it, so rest in peace. He just years ago, not my brother, but his friend, and he had the NES, so that's how I guess we knew about it, and I just woke up to like this magic. Everybody, it was at that point it was coming with Super Mario Bros. And Duck Hunt and the Zapper, and
Yeah.
it was just like Christmas morning had never actually we got a dog the year before that. That's hard to hold up, or that's hard to top. But those are two fantastic Christmases in a row, and I just remember waking up not only figuring out wow this is a thing, this exists, but we have it and we can play this whenever we want. So Super Mario Brothers, December 25th, 1988. That is my earliest gaming memory.
That's awesome. I mean, that's a good
Yes.
system to have for your first gaming memory. I know
Yes.
mine
What do you
was
get
all over
better
the
than that?
place. Yeah, one of the best systems of all time for sure.
Oh
That's
yeah.
great. So, what type of games do you enjoy playing now?
I play a little bit of everything, kind of like I was going into earlier. I actually try to mix it up. If I've played something pretty new, I'll try to play something a little bit older. The most recent game that I finished, and this is part of my catching up. Need to play every single important game. I completed Metal Gear Solid. Actually, I did complete a 3DS game since then, but like it was just a little box boy that was fun too. But like
Oh,
big
that's a
game
great
Metal Gear
game.
Solid, it is. It's very fun. Yeah, finally played that one, and I had also leading up to that, not in like the past couple months, but within the past year, I've played the original two Metal Gear, so that I wasn't just going into Metal Gear Solid
Nice.
completely cold. Like I actually sort of got the full chronological. That's sort of part of my thing. I try to, if possible, go back to the beginning, play through the series
Sure.
stubbornly, so much that I'm stuck on things that I should play. That I haven't played the old one. So, but I own like God. At this point, I collect for probably 25 different systems. Now some of that is like I have a PS2 to cover my PS1 needs, so I don't literally have every single console, but the ability to play and collect, I think it's up to like 25, maybe actually more if you count handhelds. So it's easier to name stuff I don't have. I don't have a Saturn.
Definitely gotta get a
I had
Saturn.
a friend, I do, and I had a friend who offered me one, and I like literally for free, not even like I'm gonna sell it. I should have taken him that, but at the time, I was like, that's just a money pit. If I take that Saturn, then I'm going to start buying
Yeah.
games, and I can't afford
Yeah,
Saturn games.
don't collect for it.
Yeah,
get it
so
modded,
he gives me
and
a Saturn, I'm gonna collect for Saturn.
I did the same thing, but it's expensive. Disk rot is a huge issue with the system, so it's
Is it
like,
really?
yeah, it's the worst
You have to
system
worry
to
about
have
that.
with disk rot. Sega CD and Saturn, also
Yeah.
TurboGrafx CD, are very very prone to disk rot.
I do have Sega CD. I haven't had any bad luck on the disc rot yet, so
Yeah, I was heavily collecting for those. I love the Saturn, but the GDEMU for the Saturn, the mod that you can do is very very easy, and it still leaves the disc port open, so like you can still have that, but you also got, FPGA gameplay, so you're playing it exactly the same way that you would be playing it if you had the disc in there. It's essentially an EverDrive, right? Just internally,
yeah.
it's that sort of deal. So I mean, that's always an option, and that's the way I went for now. Down the line, I might collect again, but the disc draw is like a huge worry for me with that, because the prices and the games that I want for Saturn are some of the higher
Yeah.
end Saturn games, like the RPGs and stuff
Mhm.
like that. So I'm like, let me collect for some of the other systems. I've got these EverDrives or way to play them, so let me collect for like
Right.
Switch and stuff that option isn't there for. So that's just my take on things right now, and current time.
I don't know if he ends up. 'Cause I haven't talked to him in a few months, but if he ends up and he's still got that Saturn to talk to, I'm probably gonna take him up on that offer. But I'll probably regret it because I think you're right about how much those games cost here. And
A lot.
Yeah,
disc rot, that's something. That's like that's an easy way to scare a game when you say disc rot.
it
Just a
is.
collector. And emulation, I think I'm pretty sure I've got a way to emulate Saturn, so I'll stick with that for now.
Yeah, definitely. So
Yeah, we have
yeah,
oh,
go ahead.
just a couple more in the chat. So we have Mysticles joining us. He's saying awesome first gaming memory.
Yeah.
So about the
It is.
Nintendo.
Yeah, I agree.
And then we have Stephanie saying Sega Genesis Echo the Dolphin. And then
This game, that's hard.
even asking, yeah, she's asking if skee ball counts.
As a first gaming memory,
I love skee ball, man. Yeah,
I played skee ball the other day. I absolutely love it.
it counts. It counts here at Game Junction.
Yeah,
You could be a gamer if you play skee ball. You heard
you
it here
heard
first.
you heard it here first.
in fact, I think you're not a gamer if you don't enjoy skee ball. Let's just
It's same with air hockey. I love air hockey. It's like my
yeah.
favorite
They're
thing to.
classic.
That's my
I don't think I'm
like my.
good at either one of those.
You haven't played air hockey?
No, I said I'm not good at either one of those, skee ball
Oh,
or air hockey. I
I,
love
It
them
doesn't
both.
matter if you're good or not.
yeah,
No, it doesn't.
but I am the
It's all
king of
fun.
air hockey though. That's like my favorite thing to go to first at like an arcade or any place like that. I love air hockey.
Foosball would be like as
And
far as
they
like
have like
prototype games. Foosball.
Foosball is fun too. I'd love to have all of that set up in like a basement, like in a man cave, have a few of those. Skee
Oh, that'd
ball
be
and
great.
probably like foosball or something.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
they have like crossover ones now. I think I played an air hockey one. Was it air hockey? Maybe it was pinball, but it had like Pac-Man. Like they're starting to
Yes.
cross over like generic ones,
Yeah.
and they're like it's like dual action, kind of like I guess like an air hockey or like a back and forth type of thing. But it's like Pac-Man. They have like different spin-off games now, I think.
Yeah.
So they're trying to like tie it all together when you go to those newer style arcades. So it's not like the classic ones. It's like the newer ones.
Yeah, those newer style arcades. They always trick me. It's like, oh, this is gonna be fun. Of
Yeah,
course,
we
that
have a
sounds pretty
card.
cool. Yeah, every time I go to those newer ones, it seems like they're all the redemption games. It's like, oh, you push the
Yeah.
button and stop the wheel, and then we'll take your money. It's pretty
Yeah.
ridiculous.
So what systems do you enjoy playing the most?
Oddly enough, I think I get probably the most enjoyment out of the pocket where I was sort of checked out. PS3 and Xbox 360 is a really nice comfort zone for me. I don't know why, other than I think uh, it still has some of the simplicity of the older stuff, but they had the graphics figured out to where it's not quite, it's not like what you're looking at today with the ray tracing and all that, but it's also you're not questioning what you're looking at. You can tell exactly what everything's supposed to be for the most part.
Mhm.
The gameplay was fleshed out. You could have your open world, expansive stuff, or you could have your kind of linear adventures. And I don't know. I feel like it was the best boiled down, they had it figured out. It was sort of the birth of the modern era, but they weren't caught up in let's make this game bigger. We have to make
Yeah.
this game bigger because I feel
Yeah.
like that's sort of the trend now, and it gets old. I've only got so much time, and the older I get, and the more games I get, the less time I feel like I have. I don't
Yeah.
know if that makes sense. I look at all this game like I'm not gonna finish these.
I
I'm gonna die one day.
I hear pretty universally that a lot of people say that the PS3 and 360 generation is the best generation.
Is it? I need
Yeah,
to hear that more
a
often.
lot of people say that, and I mean, I don't disagree with that. It's a great. Those systems are
Mhm.
awesome, and I include Wii in that as well because like
Yeah.
I was playing Wii more than I was playing the 360 and PS3, but I played a ton of 360. I mean, we had those late nights, eating the Cheetos, drinking the Mountain Dew, and like that
Yeah.
was my time, like as a kid growing up. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we'd have
Mhm.
late night Call of Duty sessions, and the next day I'd jump into Crisis or something. Yeah, just anything. There was every genre on there too. So
Just
it's
tried
like,
playing that the other day. I don't know if any of y'all have Game Pass, but it crapped out on me. Like literally, I tried
well,
playing Crisis. It just
I
stops.
I
Same spot.
downloaded it on there, but I haven't gotten to play it yet.
Try it and let me know if you get
It
about
just
10 to 15
crashes.
minutes. Just crashes the exact same spot.
Oh.
And I looked it up, and I'm
Wow.
not the only one who's dealing with this. So let
Yeah,
me
I
know.
wonder if that's like a
They'll probably have
main
a hot
complaint.
fix coming out or something for it.
Yeah, they would.
Apparently been going on for a few years.
Oh, really?
At least that's
I
forums
thought
say that.
those remasters or whatever didn't they just come out last year?
I don't know actually. This is not the remaster.
Oh,
Though.
it's not
I
the
know that
remaster.
no.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. We'll see. I haven't played like 1/10 of those things I have downloaded from Game Pass.
Yeah.
There's so much on there I need to try to get to. We got a few more comments. We've got Mystically saying I'm doing pretty good, enjoying the show. Super Mario says he's doing great, playing Soul Calibur and heading to bed soon. Stephanie says same. I don't join the podcast often, so just enjoying the show. We appreciate it, guys. Definitely.
Yeah,
So
then people
oh
mentioned the Dreamcast earlier, saying that um, Super Mario is saying, I just got a Dreamcast for the first time. I love it. And Mysticles is saying, yeah, it's super. The Dreamcast has an awesome library. Because we were talking about the Saturn.
yes,
It's pricey too, but good library.
it is a good library for sure. So we're talking about your collecting. What are you actively collecting for the most right now?
I just caught a Virtual Boy a
Oh,
couple
heck
weeks
Nice.
yeah.
ago. Here's the deal, though. It showed up, and one of the lenses, even though it was sold as functional, one of the lenses was out. The seller was super cool, and he's like, "Oh man, so he already got a repair in the works, but I got to send it off."
Yeah,
So
Okay.
I got to start building that one.
cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know a lot of people. I could do the lens repair as well.
Do a lens repair. It is.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
here's a ribbon cable. I kind
yeah,
of know the gist, but I'm not going to trust myself to take a soldering iron to a 30-year-old or more piece of
Yeah, I'd be
yeah,
nervous.
yeah. Stone Age Gamer offers all those supplies, and they also offer a service if
Oh
you wanna.
wow. Yeah. 'Cause I had a
I
repair
got an
shop
extra.
nearby. You
I
got an
got
extra ribbon cable?
yes, I do. Yeah, they just sent some stuff out here recently. So,
Well,
um,
I might end up using this service because the dude already paid for it, and
oh,
it's
I
like
gotcha.
$95 to send it off. I mean, he doesn't have like we're done with the deal. I could do whatever I want now. I think
Right.
I'm gonna probably just go ahead and do it this
Yeah,
just
that
because.
for sure. Yeah, I had to when I first got mine. I actually didn't have any issues with mine. I was future proofing it, so I went ahead and got those replaced, and it looked fine before. But just I know that I want to be able to have access to the system for a while.
I'm gonna do the
Um,
recap too.
yeah, I recapped and had all that done because if you don't, it's going to happen soon. Like next time you turn it
Yeah.
on, it might be just dead. So I
Yeah.
wanted to get that
Mhm.
done. I also got. I don't know if you've seen if there's any issues with the tripod stand, but Stone Age Gamer
There's
sells
not with
a.
this.
Oh,
That little medallion breaks a lot though.
yeah, I've got an extra medallion too. Mine's still on there, thankfully, but yeah, I got one of those in case it breaks or something as well.
Yeah.
It's just cool these companies do this stuff, man. Like,
It is
they
very cool.
it's awesome. Like Stone Age Gamer, Atari Age, all these companies are great for helping to
Just to
keep
keep them going.
keep them going. I mean, if it weren't
Yeah.
for them, we'd have a lot of broken consoles that nobody would have anything to
Yeah.
do with. Yeah.
I think 3D printing is going to help out a lot too with certain things like that little medallion and things where it's just like all that's wrong is this little piece here, and if
Yeah.
somebody could get a file uploaded online and people can start printing these out,
Yeah.
then it's going to make things
Yeah.
a lot more compatible in the future.
Yeah, I've been trying to I want to be able to do like simple repairs and stuff like that, so I've started doing a few things here and there. But I'd like to have that ability on hand just for myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially with the modding stuff. Like we've got a lot of that stuff coming up. You know, stay tuned on all that. But we've got a lot of really cool stuff coming up with some of those things. And I'm big on like the EverDrives and like flash devices and all that stuff because it just helps to keep these systems alive. And with the price of games, like a lot of people don't know these things exist. You know, like the general public, they don't know they can get a cart for I don't know $150 instead of spending the thousands it would cost to get the games that you want from your childhood.
Yeah.
You know
And
that.
certain games will cost more than the EverDrive itself. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So for sure, we've got Stephanie saying, "Oh wow, Game Junction does repairs. That could come in handy." Winky face.
You heard it here
Thanks.
first.
You heard it here
Send off,
first.
send off all of your
Okay.
broken stuff to Game Junction. They will take care of it.
We've got
Not
Justin saying. Justin said it for us. You've heard it here first. That's our.
Yeah,
That's like our tagline
send them-
now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been a running joke in like several podcasts because there was something that happened and someone said in the chat, "You've heard it here first." So ever since then,
Man.
it's been like this
every
thing. And
every
like,
podcast multiple times it gets said, like not even intentionally usually, but you heard it here first.
Well, I'm glad to help out.
All right, so you want to get and dive into some news, Game Ramer?
yes. So just a quick question before we jump. Did you see the new Super Mario Brothers movie?
Yes.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure. I felt like I saw some things about that. I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure.
Um,
All right. So hopefully everyone has at this point. I don't think we'll get into any spoilers or anything, but Super Mario Brothers movie, it released, in the past week. It's insane, to see how much that has brought in. It crushed the competition with its jaw-dropping 204.6 million domestic and 377 million global debut over the long Easter weekend. So that's just insane. And then I just saw another update right before this. It's now hit over $500 million globally. It's a great movie and everyone should see it. So that's not really too shocked, to be honest, though.
No, that's just hearing the numbers that's a lot of money.
But you know what I have to say about it? Peaches, 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 peaches. I love.
Actually, it had finally left my head, and here we are again.
Me and my daughter were just this morning. We were just watching the video. There's a bunch of people doing YouTube shorts of them, and she's obsessed with YouTube shorts. So we were going through and watching all of them, just singing and stuff. She loves it, man. So it's stuck in my head.
Yeah.
Been singing it I was singing it at work earlier. None of them are like gamers. Didn't understand like just peaches, man. Just thinking about peaches.
I know every single time that I see Bowser. So like I went to a game convention yesterday and there was this cool little like promo piece that I picked up and the whole time that's all I just kept thinking in my head. And I was like just standing there chuckling, just laughing.
I want to bring this up again because I love it. Luma is my spirit animal. Like literally.
Kind of the sleeper show stealer, honestly. Like I had no idea that was going to happen. And
Who knew that's the way they saw Luma all this time? I thought it was like a sweet.
That is hilarious, though.
A sweet little. Yeah, man. That's like our type of humor, so it's hilarious. We're all going to die. There is no way out. I love it. Yeah. Did you stay after to see the other scenes?
Yeah, I was told there were two, so we made sure to stick around for both post-credit.
That last one with Luma, that was hilarious. I started cracking up.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, it was great. I know we've talked about it a lot, but it deserves it. I mean, we've been waiting forever for this movie, so.
Yeah, covered it pretty extensively on the site as well. It's one of those that, yeah, it just, leading up to it, the night before we saw it, I watched the 1993
Yeah,
Mario movie.
Oh, nice.
The stark contrast.
I rewatched it too a couple days ago. Yeah,
It is night
I
and
need to
day
rewatch it
difference.
myself. It's been a
I was
while.
gonna say, literally night and day difference. Actually, if you kind of check the settings, it's
yeah,
really dark, and then man, but yeah, just very.
yeah. It's so different from that movie. I think it was just they just didn't know there wasn't enough Mario out. You know what I mean? Like Mario was new. It was a new
Yeah,
Yeah.
IP.
and like that was the age where they were taking things that were initially sort of either campy or maybe even kiddie and darkening them up. You know,
Yeah.
like you had
Mhm.
Batman movie in 1989 that like took that sort of campy comic book character into like a dark,
Yeah.
sleek. All of a
Yep.
sudden, Batman was badass. Ninja Turtles, they kind of had that same. With all of a sudden they were fleshed out and real and in the streets of New York, and you really saw it happening.
Yeah.
It doesn't work the same way with Mario. And although I
Nope.
did get a kid, I hadn't watched it. I remember watching it when it was like new and like we rented it.
Yeah.
And very if you watch something that long ago, you might have these like flashes in your head of what, but that's it. So rewatching it 30 years later, it just felt kind of the same way. Just it's all over the place and confusing. And then
Mhm.
the next day, I got to see they just knocked it out of the park with this new one. Which and not the old one is cool, but
The Koopas still
more of a
terrify me. They're
curiosity.
tiny, shrunken heads.
Yeah.
They're
Right?
horrible.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on here? Why it could have worked like if it was just the head or something like, and
Man,
they had a full size body. What was going on there?
I get
Yeah, it
what
was
they're trying
weird.
to do. I think they're trying to make it seem like what if this was the real world, at least kind of even slightly fantasy. But then
Yeah,
what if somebody was really like this? Okay, I will say Dennis Hopper in that movie. I mean, Dennis Hopper is Dennis Hopper, and
yeah.
plays a great villain, and he knocked it out of the park. But almost like they were making a different movie.
I like. I thought Bob was a good actor.
Yeah,
It
he
seemed like
apparently hated the role.
yeah. It seemed like even with that style, I feel like those actors just weren't the right choices. But again, they didn't have anything to work from really. I mean, at that point when
Yeah.
that movie came out, literally Mario was brand new. Like we had the arcade games, so like the Atari games, and the first Mario Brothers movie. I don't think
That was 93. We had
Mario
pretty much
Two.
the world by that point. That was
Did we? That what year did it come out? The movie.
93. It came out in 93.
So we had 2, 3, and World then, right? So I mean,
Mhm.
it's even then, it's still not a lot to work off of with 2D
Yeah.
side scrollers, you know.
Yeah, considering that like it was all just like what the lore we had. I mean, they had like TV shows and stuff, but this was supposed to be a fresh take, and
Yeah.
they're just
Yeah,
taking
different.
everything at face value, everything you have on paper. You have this lore in the instruction manuals, and then you have the guy jumping across the screen. So
Mhm.
let's make a movie out of this. I get what they were going for. It's apparently I didn't learn this until recently. It's apparently the same duo that was behind Max Headroom. I didn't realize that, and that kind of makes
I could see that. Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't know that.
I didn't either. As sort of my rabbit hole.
And those games, those 4 games, I guess including also the arcade game, those games were essentially the story is the exact same story every time, right? Like you're just
Yeah,
rescuing Peach. So
yeah.
like,
I mean, that's what. Well, it wasn't Peach; it was Daisy. But
yeah,
in the movie,
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah. But
yeah,
like with those 4 games, like it was the exact same story for all of them. So it's
yeah.
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, they failed, but hey, we got this new movie and it's freaking awesome, and we all love it. Everybody's ecstatic about it. So
Except the
Yeah,
critics.
thankfully.
except the critics, yeah. Oh my God, what a mess
Oh.
with that.
I'm a
Holy
little surprised that they were that mean to it. I kind of thought that maybe they weren't going to be as ecstatic as like a Nintendo fan, of course. But
Mhm.
man, they really dragged it through the mud and for no good. I think it does exactly what it sets out to do. It's a good movie for kids to watch, and it also pleases old time fans. Whatever.
yeah.
Which is insane because of these numbers and like the amount that it brought in, and like these critics, like I wonder if they're getting backlash now, like,
Oh, I'm
or
sure
if it
some of
was
them are.
all yeah, or if it was like all like a thing, so that people are like, no, let's go against the critics, let's go see it. You never know, like,
I don't know. I feel like it would have been a success either way, but
yeah,
Yeah.
Just surprising how much mud it got dragged through by then.
The critics gave the first Sonic game a better score, overall, which was a good movie. The Sonic
I
movie,
love
yeah.
Sonic.
Yeah, I love
I
it
can't wait.
too. I'm just surprised because I love that Sonic movie, and I like the second one as well, but I still think this Mario movie was better than the first
I do
Sonic.
too.
I mean, in my
I
opinion.
think it's quite a bit better, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I like those. I'm excited for the third one. But what do we think they're going to do next? What are we going to dive into? Are we getting Bowser Jr. coming in? Are
Or
we?
specifically the Mario universe.
Yeah, as far as a sequel to this movie.
Well, I mean, I guess this is getting. I'll try not to go into spoilers, but the second post-credit scene did kind of
Kind
lead
of.
into who we
Yeah.
might see. Uh, I do think Bowser Jr., as much as he is like the Scrappy Doo character of the Mario universe and just kind of annoying to me, that's probably who we're gonna see.
I think so too.
Or I don't know, Wario Mario. I mean, sorry, Wario Waluigi.
Yeah.
What? Okay. Do we think at this point it's okay to say like slight spoilers? Like, I feel like
maybe
we're.
have like a spoiler section.
Yeah,
Or
I guess. I don't know. Turn the volume off for a minute. So, how about this? I noticed this. We saw Yoshi, right? At the end there, the egg.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we saw Yoshi's in the movie. Did you guys see the Yoshis in the background?
Yeah.
So, like, what's the deal?
Was that the Smash scene?
I don't remember where exactly it was, but you could see all the Yoshis running in the background, including
Yeah,
a green
I thought I
one.
saw that.
Including a
Yeah.
green one. So I'm kind of
I
like...
don't know if I saw the green one, but I saw the
Yeah,
others.
yeah, you could see the Yoshis running in the background. So I'm kind of like, all right, you're showing that at the end, but what does that mean? We already saw them in the movie. Maybe it just means
Because I can't even remember seeing that, so it must have been more of a background.
it was a background thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in the background, but like it obviously where we saw the end one, it was in a whole completely different area. So now it's like bringing it into like the
Are
forefront.
we getting into
so
like Super Mario World?
To me,
That's
it
what
be
I would
like,
think.
Yeah.
It would be like showing Toads versus Toad. You know, like I think
Yeah, I guess. So we're talking like the prime Yoshi then.
I probably.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it could go anywhere because like it would be kind of funny if they like threw in the stuff from like Yoshi's story since we're seeing Yoshi getting hatched. That would be kind of funny. But I think we're heading like the Super Mario World, for like the first part of the next movie. But I feel like we're definitely getting Bowser Jr. I feel like he's going to be the antagonist, right?
I think it was my son that brought it. I wouldn't be surprised if they used Wario and Waluigi.
I wouldn't be either. You know what surprised me? I actually thought that they were going to start, like, before we start seeing all the stuff with Bowser and everything, I thought they were going to go the route of Donkey Kong being, like, the main dude with all the stuff.
Something to lead up to.
Yeah, and then, like, Bowser was going to be, like, this, for the sequel. So I was kind of...
like a teaser at the end of the first one to show that Bowser's in town or something like that.
Yeah, and that what they did was fine. I was a little bit surprised by that. I thought for sure they would do that because I mean that's how
It might have left too much on the table. I feel like people would want to see Bowser and Bowser.
probably. Yeah, I mean he is. Donkey Kong's good now, so we got to see a little bit of that though with that duel. We saw the Donkey Kong arcade game there, so it was so
like the natural progression.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cool. So, well, we can dive into some other news. What else do we have, Brandy?
Pokemon Stadium joined Nintendo Switch Online this past week, and we're hoping for more with it.
Yeah.
So I didn't get a chance to play it or anything, but I have the originals, so.
Yeah, I loaded it up on stream for like probably 10 minutes last night. And I think that I can't confirm this because I couldn't get somebody online to do it with me, but I'm pretty sure it has online multiplayer. So that's like a new addition for people to be excited about it. I'm hoping what this means though is that they're going to bring the 3 Pokemon games to Switch Online, so that we can connect them together and be able to bring our Pokemon over. And I mean, it's gotta be. You know how many people will get Switch Online just for that? Like Pokemon. is the biggest thing in the world. Like, it is the biggest franchise. Like, they'll get so many subscriptions to Switch Online if they
Just
bring
go for
those
that.
games just for that. Yeah. So, but it's cool they added it, man. I love Pokemon Stadium, so I'm excited about it.
And then we also have, so earlier this week, an anonymous user on the FAMA boards claimed to have information about a planned Switch remaster of the 2004's Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. They say that this information was provided to them by 3 different sources who were supposedly working on the game and contacted the user through LinkedIn. 2 of these sources reportedly told the user when this Thousand Year Door remaster will be released, but since the third has not confirmed this, the user simply notes that it could be coming soon. So this is all, we don't know 100%, but that's something that, kind of came up when we were searching through some of the news. So that might be cool to see.
That would be interesting. And probably long overdue at this point.
I would think so.
I'd love to see a remaster of that game. I think it deserves it. It's stuck on the GameCube, so. And
especially since that's hot. Like, the GameCube's like a hot system, so you would think that they would want to keep bringing this stuff, up, keep it current.
That's one of those. I'm surprised that we haven't at least heard whispers or seen some sort of like All Stars collection. Like a Paper Mario All Stars or something like that, where you have like the first 3 or something packed onto a triple compilation or something. That would be a cool idea, but.
True,
I
yeah.
feel like you could almost go with any Nintendo. You could pick almost anything. But that would be cool. Let's just put everything on one compilation. But no, I just feel like that's something that would do well.
Yeah, I mean, most people say that that Paper Mario is their favorite, and it is a great game. I love it. I love the first one, and I love that second one a lot. So I'd be super happy about that, and I'd love to see that art style brought, with some modern technology, remastering it, making it look even prettier. That paper art style is really cool, so I think it could work really well.
Yeah, that'd be neat to see.
Yeah, for sure.
And then something a little bit different than, Nintendo and stuff. We have the Renfield movie starring Nicolas Cage about Dracula and his employee is getting a vampire survivors style game adaptation. The movie is getting good reviews right now. I haven't really heard about it or seen anything on it, but I know that you have.
I mean, yeah, our buddy Wolf went and saw it yesterday, said it was awesome. And yeah, it's getting pretty good reviews. People are saying good things about it. I'm not as interested in the movie. I'll probably watch it at some point. I'm not a big Nicolas Cage fan anymore. I've kind of got over him after the whole meme era with him. I don't know. I feel like he went. I feel like he went downhill for me. But the Vampire Survivor game, a lot of people were talking about that. That was really hot for a little while. So, I mean, another movie adaptation game. That's kind of cool. I'm all for it. Bring those back.
It'd be neat to see. Yeah.
Yeah, I miss those. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then we have Street Fighter 6 is less than 2 months away. Capcom still has some more events before the big release, with a showcase broadcasting on one of the biggest days of the year, 420. So Lil Wayne will be hosting that. That's what I saw. I mean, I'd like to know a little bit more about it, but that was there. So
are there going to be illegal activities going on there? 420.
I think they probably you got Lil Wayne on 420. I feel like there's probably going to be something.
That's hilarious. I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. I'm super excited about Street Fighter 6.
See what it would be about, because I'm excited for that game. So I'd like to see what that's about.
I wouldn't mind hearing some old Lil Wayne too. Whatever happened to him? Is he still making music?
He became a skateboarder for a while, and then he tried taking up guitar, and then he just kind of.
Oh yeah, that whole that guitar thing. Have you seen that video of him playing guitar? It was pretty cringe.
Yeah, but it looked like he was having a good time, so I'm not gonna.
And that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Sure. Okay.
Gotta have fun with it.
Right.
On a sad note here, we have Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has been officially delayed until early 2024. Rocksteady Studios' latest game had just been scheduled to hit the shelves on May 26th, so just 6 weeks away when this news came out. I mean, it is kind of terrible, but at the same time, you'd rather a game be better than, forcing it to come out, but that's something that I think we all talked about in one of our podcasts or like an upcoming news or something, and I think we all said that we were all excited for it when it was coming out this year, but now I guess we'll have to add that into next year's, update, and we'll say we're excited for it to come out this year.
I think it's been delayed like 2 or 3 times.
I think this is the second time.
Yeah.
The delay thing is a double-edged sword.
It is.
I do understand not wanting to release the product unfinished.
Yeah.
You're just gonna get so much backlash. But I wish that, I'm not a game maker, so I can't say how easy it is to do this. But I do wish there was a way to either just hold back on revealing dates at all, or maybe wait until you really have some firm footing.
Solid footing on there. Yep.
Or you get to like a certain place and then you're able to like announce certain things.
It's like announcing Metroid Prime 4 6 years ago, and we still don't have it, or have like any footage or anything of nothing.
Probably tougher with games that they know there's going to be a lot of hype around, because everybody's going to be trying to find out what they can, and if all of a sudden it leaks that they're working on it before they're ready to announce it, that could be a problem too. I don't know if that goes into the decision making, but that would make sense if they just want to go ahead and get the news out there officially so that it doesn't break.
Very true.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll be here if they continue to delay it again, but we'll see.
We'll be here.
And then we also have... You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. We'll be here.
Then we have Disney's Tron universe is returning to video games in 2023 with Tron Identity, a visual novel puzzle game being developed by those who made Thomas Was Alone and The Solitaire Conspiracy and some other games. It released this past week, and there are more Tron games to come. So I haven't really checked that out, but I'm excited, especially if there's even more being announced. That'd be kind of cool to see what's going to be next.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it said there's several more on the books. So yeah, this one dropped I think on the 13th, so a few days ago. I have not seen anything about it yet or watched any gameplay or anything. I might do that after. But that's pretty cool. I like seeing the Tron franchise stay alive, and I'm all for it.
All right. And then I guess our next spot.
Dive into a couple topics.
Yeah, we do have a couple people in the chat. This was a little bit ago. So we had Stephanie who said that she liked the Donkey Kong scene with Mario and the fighting scene, in the arena. We had Super Mario saying never heard of Super. Yeah, saying never heard of Super Mario. And then Mystically saying, since the movie made so much and got so much attention, we'll probably see even more overall interest in Mario and Nintendo as a whole, which is crazy to think about because we have so much hype already around it, and typically like Nintendo stuff is, even more expensive. So that's going to be crazy to see, like even more Mario Nintendo hype, And then he's even saying that he loved the cartoon show, and Bizarro Mario is the sequel.
Uh-oh. What if we get the what was the like Shadow Mario or whatever from Sunshine? Wasn't that actually Bowser Jr.? I can't remember. It's been a while.
It's been a minute.
I do know the Shadow Mario you're talking about.
That'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool as like a secondary villain or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's like endless possibilities. You see Sonic's already, we're on the 3rd movie now that's going to come out. I mean, if we just keep them going with Mario, I feel like there's so many different topics and different characters, different spin-offs, and then transform into Paper Mario or transform into this or this universe or this, that. I mean, there's really a lot of possibilities. You could even probably just have a whole movie on, Mario Kart itself. I mean, you never know. But
yeah.
I'd probably watch it.
Very good. I'd watch it, but I don't think it would be.
Yeah.
It'd be like Fast and the Furious or something, but with like Mario characters, and like they have to go transport something and get away from this, and you know
You're not
the
selling
endless.
Yeah, for sure. So let's dive into some topics that we can all talk about because it's something we all do every single day. Just talking a little bit about what it's like for us to keep up with gaming news, write or put out gaming news, and just kind of like, everything behind that. What we do, why we do it, how we do it. Any thoughts there?
I don't know about games at all. I'm kidding.
My keeping up with game news, I would say, has been better since the site. I'm bad still about if I don't have interest, I may not even notice that I'll scroll right past it, because the headline doesn't catch my attention. So I'm trying to be better about paying attention to stuff that I'm not interested in. But overall, I mean, just learning about games in general, it's just, like I was saying earlier, it's just been super addictive. So the news side is just one of those aspects. Keeping current, I just need to get better about that. But yeah, I don't know if I have much else to say other than I need to pay closer attention to stuff that doesn't directly interest me, considering I try to now put out content for others.
Yeah, that's the
I
thing.
feel
Like, go
yeah.
ahead.
No, I was just saying I feel the exact same way. So, like you, I'm sure that I have interest in like a lot of the retro stuff, and I wasn't really like much of like a new. I mean, I have some of the newer systems I like to play when I have time, but I don't necessarily keep up on all the gaming news until like Game Junction.
Yeah.
So, I often scroll past things too, and we talk and we joke sometimes, and he's like, we gotta think of some more news topics and things, and I'm like, there's nothing for this week, and he's like, there's lots of stuff, and I'm like, what are you talking about? There's no news this week, and the next thing you know, we have like, 10 different things, and I might have just scrolled past like half of those.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
So
think the problem is a lot of these
I get
the
that.
news sites will put out a lot, and because it's part of their format, they just want to put out a whole lot of
Yeah.
content.
yeah,
But only like one out of every like 5 to 10 of these is actually a piece of key news, so it's hard to keep up in that regard too. I don't want to just filter my news through somebody else's
yeah.
lens either, but where else do I go? I think there's like places for press releases and stuff like that. That's always good.
Yes. So in that regard, I have to force myself because there's a lot of news that we'll put out like on the socials, especially on like Facebook or Twitter, that we'll put out or share or make a post, graphic, whatever for that is something that doesn't interest me at all. Like let's talk about the other day. It might have been like 2 weeks ago. There was some
Yeah.
news on The Sims 5 and like that doesn't interest me at
Oh, I
all.
love The
And I
Sims.
don't.
When's that coming out?
Soon, it's coming out real soon. But like
I
stuff
used to
like
play
that,
The Sims all the time.
I'm
I
oh boy, why did I even bring it up?
I'm not keeping up with their news, but I played the hell out of the first Sims.
I played a lot of Sims 2 and 3, but I've never played Sims 4. I don't want to. I have no interest to.
I did when it first came out, but then I like trailed off. But I used to love it back in the day. You had very simple things, and people would die and things like that would happen, and it was the crazy cheats that you would do in the game, and trying to get all this extra money like Rosebud and Motherlode and all those. But yeah, I used to like it because I would design houses because I wanted like the ultimate like game room and like the ultimate area, and then full cycle later, I actually have kind of what I wanted in some of
Oh,
these
so this
houses.
happened
So,
because you played The Sims. That's awesome.
yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, that's what it's all came.
you heard it
Crazy,
here first.
crazy how
It
life
must,
works. So you gotta
yeah.
play Sims if you want to have a game room.
And that one environment meter or whatever, I forget what it's called, but it's like when a sim walks into a room and they instantly get happy and that meter goes up. I really went overload and I focused in on that, and people are like, "Why do you have all this stuff?" Because of that meter that I learned in The Sims. It makes me happy when I walk into these rooms and I see this. So I had to keep filling it. My meter goes up. So you heard it here first.
Yeah,
That
she
was
has
where
a
I learned all
full
of this.
meter. that pops up over her head.
So every time
Yeah.
she walks into her house, into the room, she has a meter that makes her happy.
Yes.
This is how Gamer Aimer functions and does what she does.
Yeah, I should just walk around with the green little thing on my head.
You should. You
That'd
should.
be cool cosplay. Do they have like you can just get like a meter?
You
Yeah.
know what? That would be. I'd like to see somebody do that. You know what?
I've seen-
You heard it
I've
here
seen
first. Gamer Aimer is wearing Sims cosplay to Korg's in just a few weeks. She's gonna have a meter above her head.
I have seen people do it, but maybe I will get creative and like get something one day. Not anytime soon, but one day.
One day.
You have not heard it here first. Oh, okay. Now we have Stephanie saying, "Oh, we should all get meters." So here we go.
But I mean, yeah, you know, with the news stuff,
Like put a meter above everybody's head.
for sure.
I guess this is live, so there is no post. But sorry.
You're good. Just like trying to keep up with some of that, to have, you know, something to talk about for the podcast, but also just when we put things out, like not everything it's not about me, so that's the way I have to look at it. Just because it doesn't particularly interest me for just putting out the news, sometimes you just got to pay attention, not scroll past things, and take a little bit more in. But it's a double-edged sword, you know. Sometimes there's stuff you just don't care about, but there is a lot of people that care about said thing. Like there was something that came out the other day about World of Warcraft that was like a huge deal, something they haven't done in 20 years or something that I shared, and it did very well, and a lot of people like and play that game. I don't care anything about it, but it's still news, you know, and just trying to stay current, trying to keep up with things. There's even, you know, a lot of retro news that comes out.
Yes.
As far as like the press release stuff, we're signed up for a lot of that we'll get emails for a lot of those things. So a lot of the retro stuff, especially, we'll get emails sent out about things coming out, like products that'll be coming out, all that different stuff. So there is ways to do that. If you want to cover any of the retro news for stuff that's coming out, like new homebrews and new games being developed for consoles, like we get those emails all the time. So that's definitely stuff just to try to keep up with. And, you know, being in the retro scene, I like to know about all those new games and accessories and controllers and things like that. So
Yeah, and I'm sure that, you know, just like me and, you know, Brandon, I'm sure that as we're all kind of like going through, you kind of have to like look at every chance you get, you know, all throughout the day. I'm sure that you do the same thing. Like it could be, you know, late night or something and you might get an alert, or you have to like, you know, keep current with some of this stuff. So it's not just like you just flip it on and flip it off. Like it's constantly going.
yeah, I'll get a tweet about something important, I'll instantly have to get something out about that.
That's sort of what I was going to say, is that, like, you know, there are points where it's like you may not even realize that all of a sudden content just happens, and if you want to catch a little bit of that trending wave, you got to kind of hop on it pretty quickly.
Yeah, you want to get your news about it out as quick as possible, because if you're like even an hour or two later, it's a lot of times essentially useless. Yeah, it's old news. Because of things like TikTok and stuff like that, people's, you know, they're on to the next thing. They saw it on one website, they don't care about seeing it on yours too. They're on to the next.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, why would they? They know it.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy with that stuff. You gotta hit that wave. Like I've gotten alerts at like midnight before on stuff, and instantly getting that news out, and it's just something you gotta stay on top of. There's a lot behind this.
Following the right people on Twitter is good for that too.
Yes.
Like there have been times where I've noticed news before it's broken on Twitter. They said that nobody else has even, but that's important. What they just said is huge.
Yes.
But nobody's reported on it yet, and that's a good way to
And
just follow the right accounts. And sometimes people will just off the cuff say some very big bomb dropping news, and either they know that it's going to be like that, or they don't. They're just saying something kind of off.
Yeah.
Right. I'll even have people send, you know, news to me, share links to stuff that just got put out and stuff. Actually, that happens pretty frequently. So, you know the right people, and know that, you know, you talk to people that know that you are covering news and that you're putting stuff out. Like, sometimes people start sending stuff that you might not have seen, and like that, you know, there's a lot to it. So people, I think a lot of people that don't do content or cover news or do anything that we do just don't understand the things behind the scenes a lot of the times, which makes sense because, I don't know about things that I don't do. I don't know how much goes into preparing something at a 5-star restaurant. So I can't expect them to understand what we do, but there is a lot to it. There's a lot behind the scenes that people probably don't understand. So
Yeah, and
To be
there's a
fair, I
lot
don't.
that we miss out on too. So
yeah,
like
yeah,
we'll both be like, "Oh, we should get something together for this," and the next thing you know, there's like 30 videos, and we're like, "Oh," or like we already started filming, but then we're like, "Is it worth it at this point?"
yeah. Yeah, I'll even see news immediately after our podcast all the time. It's like big news, and I'm like, oh my god, are you kidding me? A lot of news drops like Sunday night. I don't know why, but a lot of times I'll see stuff right after. And then there's other times where like the weekends can be really dry and there's no news, and you've got to have something to put out. So that's when you get creative with posting and articles and things like that, which is cool. I mean, I like seeing that stuff too. So
That's actually probably my bread and butter. I don't do a whole lot of news because there's so much competition for that. By the
yeah,
time I
Yeah.
sure.
so I kind of try to everybody zigs and I zag a little bit. So it's a little easier because I don't always have to worry about it. Usually I don't worry about it if it's massive because I know that they're getting that so much.
Yeah, sure.
I don't try to be the news site, but if I think that maybe it's a bit under the radar, or if it is retro news, sometimes that
There's not as many people covering that.
not as many people.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yep, I agree with that for sure. You got to be creative with what you're doing, and you got to make it a little bit more unique, and you got to stand out because there are so many people doing these things, and that's the trick. You gotta figure out your niche and what you do and what makes it different. So
Yeah, I feel like every time I try to grab onto a news story as it's hot, it just falls flat. I don't know why. So,
yeah,
I'm good.
it's one of every 50 sometimes with news that ever hits or does well that people are seeing, and we have had news share. I mean, we've had for Facebook, we had something that got shared like 7,000 shares for news. So like we've hit that news before, but like you said, there are a lot of people doing it. You got your
Yeah.
IGNs, your GameSpots, and all these different ones that are covering it that already have a giant built-in audience and are getting alerts and emails, and
And
they're
they
on
have
all their socials.
writers who
Yes.
are ready at the
Yes.
drop of a hat to just get on it. And it's like, I mean, by that point, it may take me an hour, and I'm like, oh, okay, that happened. Now I gotta write about it. Now I gotta create a thumbnail.
Definitely. So another topic that we had, because this kind of goes with the announcement of PlayStation making a handheld device. Essentially, just does it make sense for Xbox or PlayStation to get into the handheld market with the Switch having such a hold on it? I mean, does that really make sense for those companies to do that
I think
now?
so. Yeah. Sony is actually both of them. I think Sony because their exclusives are what sells people.
Yeah.
If people want to play those games, and just having a super convenient way to play them, I think is going to be a hit. Xbox, I think, is more user and developer friendly. They're gonna. To me, I think Xbox would almost be a little bit more of a direct competitor to the Steam Deck.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So them. While I do think they would do okay in it, I don't think it would make as much sense for Xbox. Or if they do, just it almost have to. I don't know. It would almost have to be a direct competitor to Steam Deck.
Yeah. I mean, see, Xbox has Game Pass, which now has EA Play attached to it. So they've got those two, and I mean, Game Pass is huge, right?
Mm.
Like for my Series X, I've only got 4 physical games for it. Like I don't call it my Game Pass machine because I'm a I am a collector too. But the problem with collecting for the Series X is that like 50% of the physical games are smart delivery, which means the game is not on the disc. It's a key for the game. So that's the problem why I'm not like going out of my way to collect. Like the 4 that I have, those are ones that aren't smart delivery, and it just for me, it kind of is my Game Pass machine. But I've also got tons of games on there digitally from, all the way back to the 360. I still have my games from the 360 on there. Those are all on there still. So all those Xbox Live Arcade games that I had, those are all on there. So it is sort of my Game Pass machine, but there's so much more I have on there. And now that you can play original Xbox games, like a good chunk of the library, at least a lot of the good ones, since I collect original Xbox, I'm able to play a lot of those on there. So, and same with 360 and Xbox One. And, I think that it could be a competitor to Steam Deck for Xbox. I think they would have to do something a little bit different, though. I just don't know how it would work out properly for them to make sense to develop a handheld console that will make them money. You know what I mean? But for PlayStation, yeah, I mean, I could see it working, but the Vita failed, so I don't think they could do another exclusive hand.
Or did they decide for the Vita to fail? I don't.
I
think
mean,
they dropped support on that.
They dropped support on it like after 2 years.
And probably too weak.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like they ever gave that their full all.
No, it doesn't. And the reports are saying that this is going to essentially be you basically got to have a PS5 to play.
That's what I was going to say. Isn't this like kind of a remote play?
Yeah, it's one of those deals that you're connected to your PS5 and playing those games. So I mean, I would grab it because I'd want to cover it, and to be honest with you, I'm a handheld guy. But for Xbox, I just don't know. It's a hard one. It would be like a niche device, like a PlayStation handheld that you got to have your PS5 to play. Same with your PSVR 2, you got to have the PS5 for all these devices, and
which is not doing well with PSVR 2.
Yeah, it's not very.
The handheld thing I'm already asking. Like, it's already got so many questions I want to ask in my head. Like, do we have to be nearby? Is this somehow able to like take the game and load it onto the device, and then we can go and play in the car? I'm just curious. Like,
yeah,
it wouldn't make sense for it to just be like you have to like be within 25 feet of it. That would be really, really lame to me.
No, I couldn't imagine they would do that in 20.
I couldn't imagine.
If they did that, yeah, I'm not grabbing that. That'd be the dumbest thing they could ever do.
But like, then how does that work? Because do they really have the functionality to play like 5
I mean, I've played the games on my phone with their remote play. Like, I've tried it out before. I did a short last year, testing it out, and it works very well. The game, it literally looked like it was running at 60 frames per second and everything. But yeah, it worked well, and I've done it with Xbox. Works well with that too. It's cool. I don't like play. They have those controller devices. A lot of companies are making them now. So if I ever cared enough to get into doing that, then I would definitely grab one. I've considered doing it. I just don't like playing on my phone. I'm not a fan of playing games on my phone. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much what we think on that topic. So I think we've got one more, and what is that, Game Raymer?
Are we getting too many emulation devices?
What's your thoughts on that?
Such as what exactly? Like what brings the question up? Is there something new that's being announced?
Well, there's been several new ones that have been announced. There's tons of them coming out. There's a new Aya Neo device, which is essentially trying to be like a Steam Deck, but it's just an emulation device. There's so many companies making these, and it just kind of it's flooded the market to where people don't know which one can run up to GameCube or run Dreamcast and run all these other systems, like usually top out at like GameCube for some of these devices. So like, are we getting too many of these? Are we confusing people?
It sure sounds like it could be, especially since all of these they're just basically computers. So
Yeah.
It confuses me. I know that.
it confuses me, but I also don't dabble in it enough to have a solid enough opinion. I, I,
Mhm.
I do a little bit of emulation, but I almost leave the nuts and bolts to like I sort of know how to do it. You get the core and the ROMs, but honestly, that's sort of why I collect. So I don't.
Yeah.
They don't hold enough of my interest to have too much of an opinion. I love the mini consoles, the little official mini consoles. As far as like straight those emulation, like why don't you just get a Pi at that point? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
don't dis.
probably it sure sounds like it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Game Raymer, Justin, do you have anything you want to say here for the end of the podcast? Anything you want to plug?
No, just come check us out at timelessgamer.net. If you want to hear any music I'm doing, you can search for Market Zero on any of the streaming webs or streaming services. You'll find us there.
Market Zero.
Market Zero.
Okay.
Yeah, like the word market and then zero. Like taking a. I didn't even know this until we were already. It's a play on the Big Lebowski. Like Market Zero, like Mark it zero.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you have to spell it like the word market.
I love it.
And my buddy came up with that years ago, and I'm like, oh, I get it now. Okay.
Well, we'll definitely plug all of your stuff in the description below, and we appreciate having you on.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, definitely,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
for sure.
And,
All right,
and
guys.
thanks to just real quick, thanks to everyone in the chat. I know Carl had popped in as well, talking about some more things, but we do appreciate everyone in the chat as well. You know, make sure you guys check out our guest. We'll have all of the information in the description below. That way you guys can, see where you can find him and all this awesome gaming content. Especially if you guys like reading these articles. He does an amazing job.
Yes.
And I just love the interviews and everything else that he does. So I just wanted to, say that for everyone who's in our chat today and who's popping in a little bit later. And hopefully they'll kind of catch, the beginning all the way, through. So.
Definitely. All right. We'll be back again next week, guys, and we appreciate your support. We'll have a bunch of stuff coming out this week, and we've got some big things in the works. So definitely check out all the socials and everything below.